Hey, young historians, Mr. Moran here, and we're going to get into the acts. And the acts are the taxes and the restrictions that England starts imposing on the colonists. And if the Royal Proclamation of 1763 was just the beginning of the colonists thinking that, maybe Mother England isn't treating us so well, this pushes them over the edge. At least many of them start thinking that this is baloney. Basically, they England is going way beyond what they used to do. So what I'm going to do is introduce this to you. I'm going to read this section and explain how this is supposed to go. So the acts up until the 1760s, England had for the most part left the colonies alone. The policy was known as solitary neglect. Why did England ignore their colonies? Well, England was preoccupied with wars with European powers, and they even fought a civil war during this time period. Meanwhile, during this time, the colonies established their legislative bodies, they wrote their own laws, and they created their own taxes. But during the 1760s, England began to assert its power over the colonies, and the people in the colonies resisted this. After all, they were allowed to govern themselves for so many years. But that was about to change, and so that's what this lesson gets into. So what you will learn, you will understand some of the most important acts and how they impacted the colonists, critically think about the motivations that England had for passing many of these acts, and how the colonists felt about the acts. Now, what you're going to do is you will read over a list of acts or listen to them in this document I have down below here, Anger is Brewing, and I will have a link at the very bottom, or I'll have a link someplace right about here that where I'm reading that to you if you'd like to, or you can read yourself. Then you will pretend to be a colonist and create your own protest, create 2 protest signs. The instructions can be found on the Google Slide document that will be down below. And I have included 2 examples of these protest signs, and I've made 2 protest sign templates for you to create your own signs. These are just blank ones. It'll say template number 1, template number 2. And once you've completed the signs, then you can submit your assignment. So it's going to look something like this. So here are the expectations for the protest signs. It says now it's your turn. You pretend to be a colonist. You're going to make 2 protest signs against any 2 different acts. You don't know what these acts are yet, but you're going to. Each sign must include the following. You've got to have the name of the act you oppose, the reason why you oppose it, or a catchy saying that captures the spirit of why you oppose it. What you want from the British government, and I give you a hint there. Basically, you want to repeal the act. You want the act to end. Got to have something about want it to end now, want it to repeal the act. And repeal is just a fancy way of saying cancel it out. An appropriate image that relates to the act on the sign, and no spelling errors. And 2 points for each part, so each sign is worth 10 points. And here's an example of one. So I have sugar is sweet, but the Sugar Act is not. So there's a catchy saying there about how you feel about the Sugar Act. And I have the act name here. Got to have which act we're talking about, the Sugar Act. I've got the appropriate image here. And then I have repeal the Sugar Act now. So what do you want? What do you want? You want to repeal the act. And then here's another example using the Sugar Act. Sugar Act is illegal. Parliament cannot tax this. So what do you oppose the Sugar Act? And you have the name of the Sugar Act here. So oppose it because it's illegal. You can't tax us, okay? Parliament, you're not representing us, so you can't tax us. And then what do you want? You want the end of the Sugar Act now. So there it is, and then an appropriate picture. So there's a rundown very quickly of how this assignment will go. Good luck, Wildcats. And if you have any questions, come on by the office hours. Thanks, bye.